Hello, good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Douglas Emeka Okor, consultant neurosurgeon with the Brain and Spine Surgery Consortium. It's a lovely day today here in Abuja, Nigeria, and today I'm going to be talking about relational coordination. Now, relational coordination is a new paradigm, a new concept with respect to task integration and working together and engagement of employees within an organization to deliver top-notch results. Now, generally, when you talk about relational coordination, you're looking at organizations generally, but I'm going to hone down and look at healthcare organizations in the Nigerian context. I'm even going to go down further and actually look at the real private sector players in Nigeria, in healthcare. So, looking at that there, you can see the different individuals or the different sort of employees within a healthcare arrangement. For example, in Brain and Spine Surgery Consortium, you have the surgeons, the anesthetists, the physiotherapists, accountants, the nurse, the logistics staff, admin. And in the center there, you can see the patients. One of the things I always talk about is patient-centered care. Okay, so what are the objectives? The objectives here are to strengthen relational coordination among staff and employees within an organization. Like I said, I'm going down on the real private health sector here. And the key thing here is about achieving task integration successfully. Okay, so relational coordination, this new concept, this paradigm. What is relational coordination all about? So basically, it's, for short RC, it's a mutually reinforcing process of communicating and relating for the purpose of task integration. Task integration, people working together to produce something, the result, the outcome, very important. Now, I talk about the FEBS principles, FEBS, F-E-B-S-S principle. This was put together by Douglas Emeka Okor in 2015. And what's the FEBS principle all about? It's all about processes within an organization that are made faster, easier, better, safer, and simpler. Now, as you can see that diagram there, okay? Relational coordination is moving towards task integration that provides optimal output. Remember FEBS? Faster, easier, better, safer, simpler. Very important. Now, there are two dimensions to this new concept that I talk about, the relational coordination. And these two dimensions are the communication dimension and the relationship dimension. Very important. So we'll start with the communication dimension. Now, what are the things we have within the communication dimension? Frequent communication. Engaging employees in such a way that when they talk to each other frequently, they communicate with each other frequently, they update each other frequently. Everybody knows what's happening within the organization. Top notch, very important. Also, there's timely communication. Remember, we're talking about the real private sector players here, and hopefully at some point in the future, in Nigeria, the public sector in healthcare will start learning from the real private sector players. Okay? So timely communication. Remember, in healthcare, we are dealing with life and limb, and time can be very critical. So timely communication, very important. Also, moving ahead, still looking at the communication dimension, we're talking about accurate communication. Accurate. One of the things I always tell people working within our sphere is that you check, you double check, and then you recheck again. Very important. Giving accurate information. So critical. Now, I put this there because one of the fundamental things as individuals or as groups or as organizations or even states or a country is that, especially as an individual, we are born to solve problems. Okay? So we look at this problem-solving sort of circle. You identify something, as you can see there, you understand, and you ask the critical questions. Why is this happening? What are the issues? Okay? And you start deciding, what do you have to do about this problem that you've seen? And then once you decide, you start implementing plans, looking at timelines or in terms of implementation of those plans. And then once you've implemented them, you reevaluate again and see where you are. And then you go back, if you see more problems, you go back down the circle again. So problem solving is very critical. And when we talk about communication and relationship within this relational coordination concept, the issue of problem solving is very, very important. Okay, and that's why I put this slide there. So we've talked about the communication dimension. We looked at accurate communication, timely communication. And now we're going to go to the relationship dimension. This is so central and so critical. Now, one of the key things within the relationship dimension is about shared goals. So every institution, organization, every group has to have its goals or its vision well spelled out in such a way that everybody or individual within that organization understands what the vision or what the goals of that organization or institution are. For example, the Brain and Spine Surgery Consortium, its vision is to deliver bespoke, high-end, complex neurosurgical care and actually get to the point where we reverse medical tourism, and even within the West African sub-region, you actually have patients and their families coming in to Abuja, Lagos, and Nigeria to actually get that kind of care. That's our vision. So shared goals, very important. The other key thing is so fundamental, and which is sort of a very new concept, is shared knowledge. I'll give you an example. In the Brain and Spine Surgery Consortium, when you look at our customer care service staff, for example, Fumi and Treasure, they actually have a very good idea of what the neurosurgeons, the nurses, the physiotherapists, and other important professionals within the organization, what they do. And that helps them with communication and interfacing with the clients and or patients whenever they come in. So shared knowledge is very, very important. It doesn't mean that they have now become specialists or anything, but just because they have a very strong idea and knowledge of what every other person does, because every other professional knows what the other people do as well, it makes communication really smooth. And that's very, very important. So shared knowledge, very critical when you look at the relationship dimension. Okay? Now, this is Zig Ziglar, and he says this: in many ways, effective communication begins with mutual respect. Communication that inspires, encourages others to do their best. That's a quote from Zig Ziglar. Okay? Now, this is a summary of what high quality communication and high quality relationships are all about. Also, looking down on that slide there, you can see what low quality communication and low quality relationships are all about. I'll just give you some time to have a look at that slide, and tells it all. Now, what every organization, now talking about the real private health sector players, should be doing is aiming for high quality communication, high quality relationships within the organization. And then you can start moving to that point where you actually have good outcomes and have good results. Very important and critical. So that's the summary. Now, like I said, a new paradigm. This is something when you look at the key issues of communication that is accurate, that is timely. When you look at the issues of relationships, where you talk about shared knowledge, shared goals, and very critical mutual respect. Fundamental. Okay? You see that within this relationship and communication dimension, that when you actually harness these small little parts of these two dimensions, you actually have a team and employees that are motivated and really engaged and really inspired to do their best. And that actually comes back in and improves the relationship and communication, and then leads to better results, and specifically because we're talking about healthcare, better outcomes for patients. And the key thing here is that actually this paradigm of relational coordination can actually be studied, measured, and you can actually improve on things and actually study and measure it again and see where you're going. Now, a great man once said that if you want to go quickly, walk alone. But if you want to go far, go together. Like you can see there, united we stand, divided we fall. So fundamental to engage employees within an organization in such a way that the relationship dimension and the communication dimension is developed over time. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope that you get the meat of the matter.